Hey, good morning, everyone. How's it going? Uh, Happy Friday. Excited to be with you all today. So I am off work today, thankfully. So had the opportunity to do a daytime Twitch stream. So let's do it. Why not? Let's have some fun. Yeah. Welcome. Let's see here. It's really weird. It feels like it's been a while since I last streamed, but it's I guess I just streamed on, what was it, last Saturday? So it's been like 6 days, but it feels like a lot longer. Workday streaming. Yeah, I'm actually off work today. Fastly is encouraging everybody to take a day off due to all of the kind of stress in the world and stuff right now. So I am using this opportunity to do some streaming this morning. I'm probably going to go drink a few beers this afternoon. So should be a good time. Welcome. Okay, so the goal for today is to create a new Prometheus exporter. So if I go check out, well, first of all, I created an initial repo. We'll get to this, but basically, what are these? Python. Okay, yeah. So what we're doing today is status.nixos.org. So this display here actually is powered by Prometheus. So what this does is it displays the status of all of the NixOS channels when they were last updated, the current Git revision, etc. So some parts of this, I believe, are powered by different Prometheus jobs, but at least some of this is powered by what is right now a Python script. So it is a Python Prometheus exporter that loops through a list of channels, does a request for the status of each in a serial fashion, not a parallel fashion. And I guess recently they had a hang up where it was stuck for a couple of days on like an infinite timeout request or something. So I mentioned in the NixOS dev channel that we could look into building something in Go that could do the requests in parallel, provide more metrics, do things like provide you the latency for each request and such. So that's what we're going to do today. Concurrency in Python, good luck, friend. Yeah, we're doing it in Go, thankfully. But so this is the NixOS channel exporter. Basically, it has a few different metrics. So the current revision of a channel, exported as a hack. I think we can actually fix this in Go, which is good. I'll explain this problem in a little bit. The request time spent requesting data, sure. The update time, fetch spot market prices. This looks like a copy paste. If a channel is expected to be current and the number of requests failed and such. But the basic idea is this in the main starts an HTTP server for the Prometheus metrics. It will load in a JSON file, which is generated from nixconfig, which we'll show you in a sec. And then continues looping continuously, fetching the data for each channel. So each channel that's defined in the config file, we do this measure channel function. If the measurement is not none, we update the metrics. So the way that works is this measure channel does a HTTP request to nixos.org/channels, the name of the channel, git revision, and we try and parse a couple of things from the output, such as the timestamp from the results header, as well as the revision, which is the HTTP body. And if there's any exceptions, it reports those along the way as well. So as mentioned, apparently this was hung up for a couple of days. I don't actually operate the infrastructure, but that is my understanding based on what I saw. So I volunteered to write something, and I figured this would actually be a pretty fun project to do on stream, because there are probably lots of folks who are interested in what it takes to build a Prometheus exporter, and I don't think I've done that yet on stream. I've instrumented other applications, but I have not built an exporter itself. So the way this config is defined is this nix config right here. Basically, you don't need to understand Nix to understand this, but this is Nix format, but it is parsed into... it is dumped into JSON. So effectively, this would be like a top-level object with a channels key, and then keys for each of the channel names. These are all nested objects. And then within each object, we have things like the job name and the current true or false Boolean. So we're going to take a config that looks like this, put it into JSON, and then load it in. We're going to use the same assumptions they do for now. So the config is loaded from a JSON file, the same port, the same metric names. Hey, hello, welcome, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you for joining. So we're going to load in this data or do something very similar and go ahead and see if we can do some HTTP requests in parallel and export some metrics. So let's get started. Probably a good place to start would be to copy pieces of this so that way we can understand the format. So for some reason my selection has been really wonky. I don't know if that's like a GNOME thing or what, but I'm having a really hard time like selecting text for some reason, and I have no idea why. You know, Linux on the desktop, right? So we have a repository already created. I basically did the basic skeleton. I created a README, a license file, ran into this recently, not sure what causes it. Yeah, it's super weird. I have no idea. I think it's just been the past couple of days. Time to switch to NixOS on your desktop then. Yes, I wish. We'll see about that. That would be nice. Yeah, that would be quite nice. So I would love to switch to NixOS on my desktop. I am considering it, but not yet. I'm not sure if I'm brave enough quite yet, but there are probably some NixOS people in here. Maybe it's a new patch. Are you on Ubuntu 20? Yes, I am. I'm on Ubuntu 20.04. Yeah, it's really weird. Something else I've noticed recently, the current... This is really silly. So in a couple of days, I'm giving a talk at GopherCon Europe, which is going to be a virtual conference. So I will actually be... I think I'm going to be streaming tomorrow, and I will be practicing the talk on stream, I think. I think that would be a good use of time. And I can show you all the talk before it's ready. And then I will be doing the talk on Tuesday, but it turns out in order for me to share my Chrome screen, I have to downgrade the version of Chrome, because the current latest version of Chrome on Ubuntu or the app repositories or whatever will crash immediately if I try and screen share, which is, all right, well, we'll do what we can, you know? Do you use snaps? No, I do not. So for example, if you try to open the GNOME calculator, that's a snap. It takes like forever to like mount and decompress it to open the calculator app. I thought it was kind of silly. So to be honest, I don't really see the benefit of snaps. So I have totally removed the snap code from my machine. I think it's a cool idea. I think in practice, it doesn't really seem like it works that well. It is definitely a nuisance, like waiting for decompression and, mounting a file system to open a calculator. Do you use regular Chrome or Chromium? I use regular Chrome. Have you checked core dump CTL to see if it picks up anything? If so, very easy to see backtrace. Interesting. I did not know about that. We'll have to, I'm going to make a note to check that out, actually. Let's see here. I'll make a note. I don't want to do that on stream right now because, like, that would just be a pain in the neck, but core dump CTL for Chrome crash status. Core dump CTL dump. Cool. Thank you so much. So, yeah, getting back to it, let's get started. So I think the first goal is to create something that has parity with this. So there's a couple of things here about these metric names and such. The fact that they are prefixed with like channel, like I think it would be more obvious as like NixOS channel. But that being said, I'm going to match what is already here because I want this to be a drop-in replacement, and then we can discuss if it's necessary to change things. Did you use OpenTelemetry? What do you think about it? I have not used OpenTelemetry yet, no. As a fellow Michigander now in Colorado, nice. What made you decide to stay in the area if you could work remotely? Oh, yeah, that's a very good question, actually. So there was actually a while where I was considering moving to a place like Colorado. My brother lives there. One of my best friends from college lives there. It's a beautiful place. I have kind of come to... So I first started working remotely for DigitalOcean in Michigan in 2014, and I didn't want to move to New York City. I still don't. I think New York is a very cool place, but I frankly have no interest. I'm not interested in San Francisco either. I think that, the CI, thank you so much for the follow. JPAR, thank you for the follow as well. My apologies. I think that places like, the coast, the West Coast and the East Coast are very cool, and clearly there's a big tech scene. It's not for me. I don't think it's for me. Colorado is definitely a very cool place. I have strongly considered moving there, but I think I have a pretty awesome thing going for me here in Kalamazoo. Like, a lot of my college friends moved away, and to be honest, there was a while where I was kind of bummed out. But I have a lot of really great friends here now, like great, adult friends, like totally different stuff. I can still see my college friends. What's cool about living in Michigan is I can afford to have a really nice place. I can be in nature, have like all this personal space and such. Michigan's really nice, so I really have no complaints. I can live here and I can afford to travel wherever I would like. So cost of living is a big factor too, especially, yeah, totally. I think Colorado's super great and that would be the place where I would probably move, but I'm actually pretty happy in Michigan, Really disappointed in snaps. Thought they were going to be great and they have had a ton of issues. Yeah, that's kind of been my experience as well, unfortunately. Relocating SF at this point is insanity. Yeah, I mean, it's not for me. I think that whenever I visit the Bay, I'm very jealous. Like the fact that they have like a Risk 5 meetup and all these super hyper specialized like meetups for things. Like I would love the community culture, but I just San Francisco just doesn't vibe with me, What up, all? Hey, large databank. Thank you for joining. Looking forward to throwing you a raid in a couple of hours. Should be fun. Cost of living is a big factor too, especially respect. Yeah, totally. At what cost though? Oh, for San Francisco? Yeah, totally. I've had friends tell me that they are spending way too much money on apartments that are way too small, and no thanks. Cool. Yeah, let's get started with this. So we're gonna replicate what's here, do the basic things, probably write some tests, and then make it fast. So doing things like parallelize. So I think probably a good place to start is to load this config file. So I copied and pasted some of this. We're going to convert this Nix syntax into JSON and parse each of these objects so that way we can do what the existing Python code is doing. So I've already created this internal channels package. So channels, what do we call this? Data? I think probably data would be the right thing here. So, because this is data loaded in from a JSON file, data package channels, type data struct. So we need to replicate this structure in Go. Easy enough. Channels is an object as well, so we'll do an anonymous struct for now. The thing is with anonymous structs is that I like them a lot for unpacking data, but if you ever have to pack it back up again, it is a huge pain in the neck to instantiate this. So we'll stick with this for now, but we'll probably end up factoring it out. Channels. Okay, and then within this, we have what looks like a map. This is a map of string object, right? Or no, channels is not a struct. Channels is a map of string object. Because the channels themselves, the key is the name of the channel, and then there's a couple of objects inside. So this is actually, channels is a map of string to struct. And then within the struct, we have the definitions of the current job, which is a string, and current, which is a Boolean. JSON bool. Cool. There we go. So, I think that might be actually all we need, oddly enough. Okay, let's write a quick little function to parse this and see if we get an input like this, it produces a struct we would expect. Easy enough, right? So, func parse data, our IO reader. We will take an IO reader because that makes things easier to test in Go. In main, we can open... Oh, JSON. Did I do a typo? Oh, JSON bool. Thanks so much. Yeah, that was silly. That would have that definitely would have tripped me up. You know, you can tell when I'm like talking to Twitch chat and not really paying attention to what I'm writing. Thank you. So this function will read in the IO reader and unmarshal it from JSON into this data structure and then return it. Easy enough. D data. JSON new decoder. R decode into the structure. Return D nil. The address of D. Right. Yeah, this function's a little small. I mean, it's probably okay. The thing is this is all going to be internal API. Like, this exporter is not going to be used as like a package for anything else. It's going to be used exclusively for internal use. Like, I don't think we're going to need to factor these packages out. We could, though, if we wanted to. But let's write a quick test. Data test.go. I think we can probably go full screen. We're not going to need the terminal for a while. Okay. Package channels. You know, I say that, and then as soon as I do this, we're going to want to go over there and run tests, I'm sure. So, test parse data. So, given an input, which is going to be a string, probably for convenience. So, given a string, produce either an output data structure or an error. So D is a channel's data, a pointer to a channel's data, and then we will return OK, which is a Boolean. So we'll check and see if the JSON parsing succeeded or not. So first test case, bad JSON. You know, we don't actually care what's in here, it just has to be incorrect. So this is not valid JSON, right? Next, we will parse the object, right? So D error channels parse data. And we're going to strings new reader, because this way we're taking an IO reader because it will be easy to swap in with a file for the real code. But for our tests, we can input the test string here. ART fatal F failed to. Actually, no, we don't want that. We want, so T error OK. So this is another little snippet I have basically checking that if OK is true, you have to not have an error. So this is a snippet I like to use when I don't necessarily want to check the actual text of the error, but this is handy. So failed to parse data. Expected an error but not occurred. And then if there is an error, we log it to the screen so we can tell what it is. In this particular case, we don't really want to introspect for things like a JSON error. It's just, it'd be overkill, right? So, fatal F. Do a comparison here. So we compare the expected data against the data we just got. So unexpected data. Beautiful. So now we will go into what extension is doing all those autocompletes. Those are VS Code snippets. So I have, let's see here. So I have a few snippets I use. I have diff t fatal f, which this, can I make this bigger? Yeah, one sec. Oops. I don't want a breakpoint. No. Let's close all these for now. Does this work? Diff t fatal f. Why is this so small? Can I resize this? No. Basically, I've created a few VS Code snippets that do things like a CMP diff check, or I have things like a table-driven test, or I have t error OK, which means that if OK is true, there should not be an error, and etc. These are things that I find myself writing in lots of tests, so I've set them up as VS Code snippets. I understand that, this sort of thing, like, some folks may have different styles. These are the kind of styles I like. I find that they tend to be very explicit. So I have common patterns set up, or like error t fatal f. So if there's an error, t fatal f with a template. Error log fatal f, same thing, but with log.fatal f. I have lots of stuff like this. Do I have error panic f as well? I do, yeah. Yep. Right. So, internal channels. We will go ahead. Oh, that's cool. Thanks. Yeah, no problem. Watch. And do the tests pass? I think so. Right. Is this file not saved? I don't think it was saved. Oh, it's in the wrong... I always do this. See, you'll notice this is actually in the wrong directory. I always do this by accident when I'm creating new files within VS Code. I don't know why. I haven't figured out the right spot to click yet. Anyway. There we go. Test pass. So we can actually tell that the case we were writing for is this JSON decoding error. Easy enough. Let's see here. Can you also write a fuzz test? I always want to write, but find an excuse not to write, mostly because I had issues with Go mod when I tried last time. Interesting. It'd be great to learn from you. Yes, I think fuzz tests are super useful. I think that as far as the JSON decoding stuff, I don't think a fuzz test is appropriate here. I could potentially... Let me find you a link really quick. MD layer NDP. I have fuzz tests in my NDP package, which would probably be a better reference. So... Right, so the way I did it in NDP is... I have a goFuzz function that will do things like parsing an NDP message, marshalling it back, and then comparing the two. So this is what I do here, and I actually have this function as part of the package itself, because that way I can write tests against it. So I can, these are all things that crashed my NDP package before. I can test against them here and verify they don't crash. So there's two links, and then the third is the goFuzz file, which actually is the entry point for goFuzz. Right here. And this has the build tag. Excuse me. So this is the way I like to do fuzzing. Check out those three links. I think that should give you a pretty good guidance. That being said, I think that these fuzzing tests are not as good as they could be, and perhaps we'll get back to that at some point. Mohang Habo, thank you so much for the follow. Perhaps we'll get back to that, but not today, unfortunately. So the thing is like, since we don't actually want to fuzz the JSON unmarshaller, we don't actually care about that. So if we were parsing like a binary format here, it'd be different. But in this particular case, I don't want to do fuzzing because it would also just be kind of a rabbit hole, I think that it's probably reasonable to say that if any of these channels, we could do a bit of validation too. So if any of these channels don't have a job value set, they probably should. So we could check and make sure that every channel has a non-empty key and every job has a non-empty key. Those would probably be a couple of nice little validations maybe. So let's do that. Let's see here. So for C in D channels, if C is empty string. Oh, no, this is a map, isn't it? So C for the channel itself. So the name of the channel. Have you at any point been a Vim user? Yes, I was a Vim user from 2009 until 2016 or 2017, whenever VS Code started to get pretty popular, because I was never any good at Vim. So when I got my Kinesis keyboard, I totally forgot how to use Vim. I can't do it. If so, what made you use VS Code? I can't use it because I always take a dip in efficiency. Yeah, see, I hear people say that, but the thing is for me is that I find that as I become more senior, more experienced, I am doing less nonstop typing, right? So I think it's nice that VS Code is configured pretty well out of the box. I don't have to do things like Vim script. I'm sure that the Vim ecosystem and such has gotten a lot better with things like language servers and etc. And I think VimGo was amazing. It's just that for me, I never learned how to use Vim to its fullest extent. And I found that trying to remember Vim Arcana to do random things was not really for me. So I find that VS Code doesn't really limit me at all. But that's just me. You know, it's a personal choice. I hope that helps. So if the channel name is empty, or we want to check and see if the value, so, okay, let's do KV probably. So if the key is empty or the value, so if the key is empty, we'll return an error. Return nil. Vim config still sucks, I bet. The language servers are good though, for sure, but if something breaks, it's madness inducing to fix. Yeah, I would believe that. I would totally believe that. Errors.new, missing. Let's see here. Channel. Empty key in channels. So we're just going to do a couple of basic sanity checks here and verify the file is in some consistent state, because if either of these things were empty, it would not do us much good to export metrics. I don't think we actually check the job at all in this exporter, but we should probably validate it anyway. Error F in this case. Let's see here. Make this a bit wider. You know, it's a shame. I've got this nice 4K screen, but I have to crank the text up so people can read it. What are you going to do? Channel %q has empty job value. I think that'd probably be a useful error. Right, so on top of bad JSON, we're going to have a couple more test cases here for empty channel name. I have to do the same for work when sharing my screen. Yeah, totally. It's a shame. You know, 3840 by 2160. Well, it's downscaled to 1920 by 1080 for Twitch. And then on top of that, I've got massive fonts. So what are you going to do? Let's see here. So the string we're going to input here is an empty channel name. So something like channels is one of these. And then we'll have an empty string and an empty value. So this is not representative of the real JSON really, but I think this provides a nice little test case. Am I missing a bracket? I totally am, aren't I? There we go. So now we have an empty data test 25. Oh, right. Others have smaller screens. Yeah, totally. The thing is like I want my stream to be friendly to folks who are watching on like a 13-inch MacBook, you know, because there are probably lots of people doing that. Empty layer plus plus for writing new exporters. Heck yeah. People in the NixOS IRC. Cool. So this seems to test what we want. So the channel name is empty, which means that this key is not going to do us any good. So we check for that. And then now we will check for empty channel job. So foo will say is the channel name, and then the job key will be empty. So I guess we could just totally omit the job, right? And that would actually provide that same error. So let's do -v. Invalid character X. Sorry, this is a little weird to read. Empty key in channels. Channel foo has empty job value. Perfect. So these tests actually do just what we want, so we're good. So now we can write a test for real. Do some basic sanity checks to ensure the input JSON has metadata we will need to proceed later. Alt-Q, love it. Automatic reflow of comments. So now I guess we could actually just emulate this data. So let's go ahead and do that. Name, okay. S is a string, and we are going to have probably something like this. So a top level object, a channels. Let's see here. Yeah, let's just, this is not valid JSON. It's pretty close though. So let's just steal this. Nix is like kind of like looks like JSON a little bit, but there are some subtle differences for sure. Let's see. JSON doesn't need semicolon. No, it does not need semicolons. What am I thinking? For a minute, I was like, wait a sec. I think that just for the purposes of the test, we're going to say current equals false on one of these, just that way we can we can verify both cases. But 50 missing. Hey, Jules, welcome. Welcome, welcome. What am I missing? Oh, comma. Still have equals. Oh, do I? Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yep, good call. Actually, let's do some multi-cursor, right? Check this out. You ready for this? I'm like so good at VS Code now. Not really. Hey, perfect. What are we doing today? We are building a Prometheus exporter for the NixOS, status.nixos.org. So the current Prometheus exporter is written in Python. It does all the requests in a synchronous fashion, and I volunteered to prototype something that can make it a little faster. So we're going to write one and go. We're going to do parallel fetching of things, and we're going to export more metrics. So it should be a good time. I guess I should probably go with 2 space here just for consistency with the... tabs. Being a Go person, I prefer tabs where possible, but that being said, I will comply with whatever. How does this test pass? Oh, there must be invalid JSON in here somewhere. Okay, true. Test fails. Invalid character J, looking for beginning. Oh, these all have to be quoted, don't they? Boom, 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 boom. Quotes. Let there be quotes. Beauty. Okay. Invalid character. What am I missing now? I think we have an extra bracket in here somewhere. Select colon and control D. Yeah, I knew about the control D trick. I wasn't sure how it would work with like a single... I wasn't sure how it would work because of like the code elsewhere. Prometheus exporters are your specialty. Yeah, they totally are. I do a lot of them. Shouldn't it be channels array? No, so in this case, like that's probably the way I would write it personally, but it looks like this existing code uses key values. So Nix seems to like this key value syntax. So in this case, it is a map. So this is a map of structures, a map of string to structure. We have a syntax error in here. Oh, is this it? Yeah, totally is. There we go. So we can actually close this now. So there we go. We have a test fixture here, which tells us what this should look like. Beautiful, huh? So now this is where, of course, I just mentioned that... sorry. My cursor's been all over the place. There must have been some update or something, but here we go. So we'll call this structure a channel. Type channel struct. Already did that. And this JSON tag now moves up here. Data is the top level wrapper for NixOS channel metadata. A channel describes an individual NixOS channel. A channel describes... yeah, it's probably fine. It's probably an okay comment. Parse data parses data from an input JSON stream. Beauty. Cool, cool, cool. Sometimes people will like send me messages on Twitter or something like after I start streaming, and it's like it's just hard for me to follow, you know. I'm trying to pay attention to you all, but oh no, what's going on? So this is we're gonna take a quick little detour, but my ISP has been having trouble the past day or so, and what's happening now is, for those of you who have seen my other streams, my Corad Prometheus exporter is actually telling me that there's an alert on my network right now. So this is pretty cool. Let's check this out. Grafana. So we can actually figure out what's wrong with my router live on stream. So for some reason, Charter keeps going out, and when they do that, DHCP CD, so the DHCP client daemon, is losing its mind. So let's see what Corad is saying. So I've been working on the dashboard. So let's see here. ENP2, guest, IoT, LAN, 10 gig. This all looks right to me, actually. I'm working on this. We'll update this soon, but let's see here. Yeah, you can see this. Look at this. So you can actually see when I had the trouble today. So my default route lifetime, my ISP stopped sending me traffic for a little bit, so my default route started ticking down. So what I actually want to do is I want to buy a modem I can actually more easily export metrics off of, so I can figure out like what exactly is happening here, because the ISP provided one's not doing it. And yeah, see, they stopped sending me router advertisements for a period of about 2 minutes. So this is why we monitor, right? So why is this alerting? Let me check my phone really quick and see what the alert actually is. Oh, looks like it resolved itself. Core Red advertiser missing prefix, and it resolved itself around 10:52. Yeah, so I actually got a Prometheus alert that says that we dropped a prefix off an interface and it came back. So route lifetime not a static default. Yes, this is the default route lifetime as computed by the neighbor discovery router advertisements. So every time my ISP sends me a router advertisement that says, your default route is now, or you can consider me a default router for the next 2.5 hours, I'm resetting this. So this query checks the default route expiration time minus the current time, and it'll actually alert me if the default route falls below about like 2 hours, I think. And I actually was working on some other queries yesterday. I tweeted this, by the way, but so the router advertisement prefix valid lifetime seconds joined with the last multicast time in seconds, I can predict when a prefix will become no longer valid, and I can actually alert on this as well. So Core Red is getting pretty cool. So if you can run IPv6 at home and you are interested in trying it, I definitely recommend giving it a try. It is not the focus of today's stream, but this is pretty cool. I wanted to check this out. So let me, is there one more thing I have to do? It's just so annoying, like I saw the Prometheus alert, but anyway, things are all good now. If my stream drops, this is why. My ISP is doing funky stuff today. So anyway, pretty cool. Right, now we need to write a test fixture. No problem. No problem at all. Channels data. I'm not sure if Graham C is in my stream right now, but if Graham C is, he asked me to keep this simple. I will do my best, but the thing is I think that Prometheus exporters should have tests too. So it's important for me it's important to me that this has tests. So I will try and keep it as simple as comprehensible as possible, but it's going to have like good unit tests and stuff too. Assad Hayat, thank you so much for the follow. Channels is a map of string to channel, where the keys are NixOS unstable. Job is NixOS trunk combined tested current true. There we go. So we just need to translate these other two into Go as well. NixOS unstable small. Unstable small. Yeah. Small tested. And then Nix packages unstable. Nix packages trunk. By the way, NixOS is super cool, and I will probably do another NixOS specific stream at some point, but I am very much in love. Honestly, it is the first config management system I found that I enjoy writing. Like, when you're writing Chef, like, you just want to tear your hair out, right? And NixOS does not make me want to do that, which is very cool. Unstable small, trunk small. Okay, different name. So this is why we use the Go CMP package. If we did reflect deep equal, it's like, oh, these things aren't equal. But with Go CMP, we could actually say, hey, there's this diff, and like this is literally exactly what's wrong with these two structures. So you want this, but you got this. It's awesome. Let's see here. Looks like the Twitch is like a little out of sync today as far as like the viewers go, because it says I've got a bunch of folks in here, but I don't see a whole lot of people in chat. So do you recommend any material that you like a lot to learn NixOS? So the NixOS website is actually very good. There is a lot of stuff in there. I think it's called like Nix Pills that explains it's the bots. Yeah, ViewBots, of course. So Nix Pills on the NixOS website explains like how, like kind of some of the fundamentals of Nix and such. But as far as just like playing with it, I think I started with it on a non-production machine. Like you could do like a virtual machine and just start with the basics, like make a basic configuration, do a basic install, and say, hey, I want to get Prometheus running. You do services.prometheus.enable NixOS rebuild switch, and it'll do it. So I don't think I have any super good beginner resources, unfortunately, because I just kind of learned on my own. But if there are NixOS people in here who know more than me, please do share. You saw Shopify videos on YouTube about NixOS. Oh, very cool. Yeah, I hear Shopify uses it. They have a very cool tool called Comma, which can run a package without you installing it. So that's awesome. Yeah, this is fully tested now. Looking pretty good. So now we have the data parsing portion. That's good. So given an input file, we will parse the data. So we can do that in main. We can make it so that main will expect an input file, which is specified. How does the Python do it? argv1. Okay, I guess that's fine. Oh, you found pills on the website. Looks great. Awesome. Good to hear. Good to hear. So I guess we'll do exactly what that does for now. We might actually want to expose more flags later. I feel like this probably should be a flag, actually, just for more extensibility. So config flag equals flag string c. Default is channels.json. Is that what it's called? There is no default. Okay. Path to the channels.json file derived from channels.nix. So the way this works in the NixOS configuration management is I believe that it loads in the Nix object and then converts that to JSON and like writes it to a file before it runs the exporter. So I think that's probably would be the expected approach, is that you derive it from channels.nix. I think we'll probably end up like hard coding something. So like we'll hard code actually just this. This is perfectly good for a test case. Channels.json. Beauty. Flag parse. And if, so we'll make it so this is a mandatory flag. So if config empty log.fatal f must specify -c must specify path to channels.json. I guess we can make it so that channels.json is the default. It's probably friendly. And I guess we could just try and open the file. So that's probably okay. Error log fatal f, so failed to open. And then we don't actually need to include the file name because the OS open and similar methods will include that as part of the error, which is very nice. So cool. And once we open this, we will want to close it for sure. So defer f close. And actually, we're going to close this twice because we will defer close to make sure that every path uses it. But as soon as we load this file in, we don't actually care about having the file handle open anymore. We can keep it the same for the entire lifetime of the exporter. So we do data, channels, parse data. Failed to parse channels data. And then we will forcibly close the file immediately because we no longer care about it. You found the videos if anyone's interested. Nice. Awesome. I will go ahead and Burke Libby. Okay, yeah, I think Burke might actually be the author of Comma, the tool I was talking about. So I will bookmark this. Thank you so much for sharing. Or I will subscribe to his channel as well. So I am not an expert on Nix by any means. I think I know enough to be a little bit dangerous now, but there are folks who can totally blow me out of the water. I just don't have like a functional programming background. I'm not as familiar with that sort of thing. But it's very cool for sure. So okay, we have the bare bones. Let's see what we can do. Build. There we go. And it works. Let's go ahead and checkpoint our work. So we have go.star. Yes, we need to add the go mod because we had things like go CMP and X errors. Yes. We need internal and we need command NixOS channel exporter. Maxwell, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Did I? Oh, I mismatched the binary. Wait, what? NixOS channels exporter. Untracked files. Oh, so I renamed this. So command NixOS channel. Hang on a sec. Channels exporter. I thought I renamed this to not plural. There we go. So NixOS channel exporter. Back. Nope. Channel exporter. Remove. Build. So I guess we actually just go run this. Easy enough. Great. This seems like a good place to checkpoint things. GA command. There we go. So we have the channels JSON. Actually, we're not going to commit the channels JSON because we don't want to. This is just for testing purposes. So I guess we can do like a git ignore because this is not actually going to be part of the repo. Git ignore. Git restore. Staged command NixOS channel exporter channels.json. There we go. Channel exporter. Did I commit this with the wrong name? No. Okay, I forgot to change it earlier. That's fine. Anyway. Yeah, this is a good first commit, I think. Initial data structure parsing. Internal channels. Initial data parsing from JSON stream. All right, excellent. We can continue on. So now we are at the point where we are loading the data in from the file, so we can actually start building kind of the body of the Prometheus exporter itself. So I've recently been using my metrics light package in a couple of places, but we're not going to use that today because it doesn't support histograms yet, and I want to use histograms in this, I think. Do you have exporters and Grafana dashboards for Twitch streams? Yes, I do, actually. You ready for this? Let's see here. Grafana. It's going to log me in. Yes, it is. Perfect. OBS. There we go. So this is the current status of my stream. We have the key light powered on. We've got the brightness at 40%. My microphone output over time, the current time to render a frame, the current output data rates to FFmpeg file, as well as RTMP. Looks like we've dropped a couple of frames, maybe. Yeah, frames missed due to running like 5 according to OBS. So 30 frames per second. Yes. So yes, I do have I do have this, which is pretty cool. All kinds of fun, right? So now that we have the data files, we want to actually create the exporter type, I think, which will take in the data and then begin exporting. Respect. Awesome, yeah. Yeah, I take my Prometheus pretty seriously. It's been very useful for me, for sure. Package channels. What is... Wait a sec, more alerts? No way. I think my ISP might be messing with me. Either that, or I think... Sometimes, like, pushover will keep sending stale alerts, and I have no idea why. It's pretty frustrating. Anyway. Exporters. This is the channels exporter is the type. So for the exporter type, we're going to want to use something as a skeleton. I've got a lot of code that does this already. We're going to go steal something, because that's what we do. Empty layer. What is an exporter that would be comparable that is not using my metrics light exporter? How many exporters have I built now? 10. Sounds about right, huh? I think WireGuard would probably be a good one. This is a nice idiomatic one, actually. So Prometheus collector, Prometheus new desk. Yeah, this is looking pretty good. Let me see, what else do I need? This is like the same kind of thing, actually. Like, it parses a file and uses it as input for an exporter. Yeah, so we're going to steal probably a fair bit of this. That should be enough. We're just going to steal the outline, basically. I just want to kind of have some idea in mind. I can never remember the exact like interface names and such. There we go. So, let's see here. Type exporter struct. So the exporter type is going to be what lives here. Prometheus collector for a WireGuard device for NixOS channel metadata. Exporter. So to create the exporter here, we are going to have, let's see. This is going to need to parameterize the URL to fetch from, or at least the base URL, because we're going to be fetching the real data from nixos.org. Like in this exporter, we're going to fetch from nixos.org/channels. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to create our own in-test HTTP server that can test various cases here. And so we can use the nixos.org or the real one, or we can use our custom one. So I think probably what we'll do is something like a base URL. New constructs a Prometheus collector. We'll get back to that. Let's see here. Channels, new exporter. So this needs to take the input data, so the structures that we care about parsing, and the URL, the base URL of the server. So base address, or base URL string of the HTTP server we want to build requests for. And also the data structure that we just created. So data. And we won't take a pointer because we don't want to deal with like the nilness problem, you know. New exporter constructs a Prometheus collector, which gathers NixOS channel metadata from the HTTP server specified by base URL. Right, so we can go ahead and remove a lot of these metric descriptions. What's a metric we're going to have? We can just start with one. So we can assume the happy path, I think. For each channel, update time, measurement timestamp. Where's the timestamp come from? Oh, the headers. Channel revision, channel current. We can do the revision because that actually comes from the HTTP body. Ugh, excuse me. Current channel revision exported as a hack. And this is one of those. Yeah, this is an info metric. Awesome. Okay. So we'll do exactly what the Python code does. So we can actually remove a lot of these. So this will be channel revision. Is a Prometheus descriptor. Do I want to export these? I don't think I do. Well, I guess it's all internal anyway. It doesn't actually matter. So I think kind of to do here, this should be named like in theory NixOS channel, like to be more descriptive. But that being said, this is going to be run by like an internal infrastructure, so it should be fine. NixOS underscore. I think that'd be a little more descriptive, but it's okay. So channel revision. Channel revision. Current revision exported as a hack. This will not be a hack because we have a pretty good idea. So let's see here. Current revision. So current channel revision. So this is an info metric. So this doesn't actually export a useful value. Synthetic information metric with labels for the current, for the revision, current revision of a channel. So this is going to have the labels of channel and revision. No const labels because I have never, I've never actually used them. Let's see here. So we need to construct the base URL and make sure it's valid. So error, base error, URL parse base URL. If error, return yes, yes, yes. Base URL. Base. Shoot. Occasionally I hit like a keyboard shortcut and I have no idea what I even hit, you know? C channel revision. Channel. This isn't working because the types are named differently. So this is going to be E for exporter. E for collector, exporter. So this is where we actually fetch the, so we're going to perform the HTTP fetch, or we're going to do several HTTP fetches, but we'll do, let's see here. So for each item in data, for each item in data, we're going to do a fetch and then export metrics. So this is going to be done in parallel. We're going to do this as simple as possible at first. We're going to go ahead and do it all single-threaded, but it will be parallelized for sure. Let's see here. So we can create an HTTP client that we can reuse throughout. I think it's probably... do we want to offer the configuration for a client? I guess we could. Base URL data. Client. HTTP client. Client is nil. We'll configure a default. We do not use the default global client because that would be silly. 10 seconds. That seems more than enough. So now that we have an HTTP client and we have a URL, we can actually do the request for each one. So we need to construct a URL for each. So that is this right here. So what we're looking at, we need to make a copy of base so we don't manipulate it. So because this is a pointer, we want to make a copy of it. Actually, I guess we could just... This is going to be immutable from now on. So we could just remove the pointer here and dereference it as is, which means that nothing will mutate it, I believe. Because I'm pretty sure, well, yeah, this function is going to get a copy. This function is going to get, yeah, we'll make a copy of it. Make a copy to avoid mutating ebase, right? And then we append the path, and the path is going to be this channel's get revision thing. So base path equals /channels name get revision. So devices, no, data, e-data. For each e-data channels, I guess that's probably true. So for each channel, so we have channel, which is the name of the channel, and then we have the values within. So we'll do like channel metadata or channel meta, something like that. So is your job more like NRE or SWE? So network reliability engineer? My job is more SWE side. Like I'm definitely more of a software engineer. It's just I happen to be focused in networking. But it's like I'm not like configuring switches or anything. I'm writing Go code that does networking things mostly. E.client. We have the HTTP client, right? Did we put that in yet? We have not. Okay. HTTP client. And we're going to reuse the same HTTP client because it can do smart things like keeping connections open, so it'll be good. You want to get more into software engineering stuff instead of NRE focus. Nice. Yeah. It's there's definitely room for software engineers with networking experience for sure. So would recommend. Client get the path. This is no longer base. This is now base. No, this is now address. This is the full address. So string. If error, return nil error. We're going to need to do a lot of error handling and such here. We're just doing the very, very basics to start with. 80% of my day is already code anyway. Yeah, totally. I'm going to print this for now, and then we will export a metric about it. So why not, right? Does this build? I feel like this hasn't built in a while. It does build. Awesome. Oh, build. It does not build. Not so awesome. Right. Exporter. Collector. I probably just messed it up. Line 36. Not enough arguments. Right. Line 72. Too many arguments. Okay. Ah, right. Yeah. Continue. CE channel revision. This is a gauge because this is an info metric, which are always gauges. It's got a constant value of 1, and the labels need to be the channel and the revision. So the channel, we already have channel, and then the revision we are going to get by reading the body. So we will read the entire body, but in a limited way, so we can't consume too much memory. So body error. So first defer. Response body close. Actually, since we're going to be doing a loop here, we should probably factor each one of these out, and that way our defer will close the bodies as fast as possible. So, yeah, I feel like that's probably reasonable. Yeah. Collect given an input channel of metrics and the current channel and the metadata. So channel string, meta is the channel information. And I guess we could have this return an error, so we could do all of our error handling at once, which would be kind of nice. So return, format error F, failed. Actually, I think this will probably return a pretty good error as is, so let's leave this alone for now. I guess we could just do failed to fetch channel %q revision %v. The channel we are fetching from is the channel name, and the revision, or there's just an error, right? So now we're going to read the body. So io-util read all, and we're going to limit the amount of data we can read. So I'm pretty sure there is something, I typed that, wow, typed several things wrong there. Anyway, let's see here. Max bytes reader. This is on the server side. I'm pretty sure there's something here that can like limit. I know there's something in IO, but I could have sworn there was something in net HTTP. I think it is this max bytes reader, but this is on the server side. We want a client limiter. So IO, and within IO there is the limit reader type, which lives right here. So given a reader and stops with EOF after n bytes. Perfect. IO limit, the body of the response, and this is the get revision. This is going to be very small, so we'll say 128 bytes. I mean, this is these URLs are tiny, or these bodies are tiny. Because we'll have the headers too. The headers have a lot more information we care about, but otherwise this is just like a get hash. So 128 characters ought to be way good, you know. And this means that if we happen to connect to a server that is sending too much data somehow, then we're not doing that. Failed to read HTTP body. For channel %q. Failed to HTTP get channel %q revision. Hey, Jimmy, welcome. I'm late, but still here. Yay. Welcome, welcome. It was fun hanging out on Cbro stream last night. I wish I could have been there earlier. I was busy. I didn't realize there was like the Discord thing going on. I would have hopped in, but I had no idea. What are you going to do? Anyway, we have the response. Now we have the stringified version of the body we can print out just for funsies. And this is going to be the rev, actually. So rev stringify, there we go. And we're going to export more metrics for sure. But now, here we go. If error e collect. You know, actually, so I just, this is silly. One sec. I'll explain what I was going to talk about. But yeah, ch channel meta. Failed to HTTP get. We don't actually need to include the channel name because we have it out above. So failed to HTTP get channel revision. Failed to read HTTP. Failed to read HTTP channel revision body. Something like that. What I was mentioning is instead of putting the channels and all the errors here, we can just do it out here. This is a lot easier. So F error %v error colon equals format error F failed to. I don't think I've ever implemented a collection for prom before. Yeah, it's a little verbose for sure, but it's good. Failed to. Yeah, this is how you build exporters, is using the collector interface. So failed to fetch channel %q %v. Hey, yo, just got here. So is this using push or exposing like normal on /metrics? This is typical Prometheus. This is going to be pull-based. So /metrics, we're actually getting to the point where we're going to be able to test this in just a sec here, due to the very basics. It just lets you get the metrics lazily on request or something? Yes, that's exactly it. So the point when you're building an exporter is you should not be fetching the data until you get a request. If you're doing any kind of caching, you are violating exporter rules. So if something is very, very expensive, you should consider just reducing your Prometheus scrape interval, because exporters are always supposed to expose the exact state of the world when they're queried. There are lots of exporters that break this rule. It is what it is, but I prefer not to. Where's the invalid metric thing? I always forget how to do this. So if we want to return an error with Prometheus, we can do this guy right here. This. Today I learned. Oh, exporters? Yeah, this is how you're supposed to do exporters. And if a channel fails, we'll just continue trying to fetch the other ones. Today I learned. Okay, cool. Yeah, you know, it's kind of funny. The Prometheus docs are good, but they're dense. So there's a lot to get right for sure. And I say these things on behalf of myself and not the Prometheus team. I've always tried to prefer that model whenever you can. Yes, exactly. Channel revision. So if there's an error collecting for a given channel, we will print it to the screen as well as exporting it via this. And this new invalid metric thing will produce a useful output, halt the collection. Does it halt the collection? Or no, it can produce multiple errors. That's good. And it will tell Prometheus that something is wrong, so you can alert on it, which is good. So I think we're at the point where we have something that will work. 38. Can you summarize what's been done until now? I was away for a while. Yeah, no problem. So basically, we're at the point where we can now read in a data file from JSON. We are setting up the Prometheus exporter infrastructure, and we are about to plumb in the exporter into main, and then run it, and then we can actually verify against nixos.org that we fetch the data we would expect. So, should be good. If base URL is empty, we'll do base URL equals https nixos.org, I believe. One sec. Yes. I have to use the push gateway in one of my more complicated prom setups, so it makes a mess out of my memory of my prom facilities. Yeah, I'm sure. I've actually never used the push gateway. I write Go stuff, so it's not too bad, you know, to do it this way. But I'm going to change the parameter order here because data is mandatory and these are both optional. NixOS channel metadata about the channels defined in data. From the HTTP server specified by base URL. Yes. If base URL is empty, a sane default is used. If client is nil. A default HTTP client with timeouts is used. Don't use push gateway. Push gateway seems kind of hackish. Yep. Yeah, it's one of those things where if you need it, you need it. You know, if you're running like a batch job or something, I guess it could make sense. But I tend to, you know, not write batch jobs. I'll write a Go thing instead. You know. So by default, we're going to query from nixos.org. We are going to use the same HTTP client, and both these can be configured in tests. But for main, we don't actually care. We'll leave them empty. So now we can create our exporter and register it and see if we can do a metrics collection. So I always forget this part too. This is the prom HTTP. Nope, wrong one. This is the prom HTTP stuff. And I don't believe in global registries either. So this with timeouts. Yes. Good. This is not WireGuard exporter. This is channels new exporter, actually. So channels exporter. So with the data we just gathered, which is now a struct type, empty, because we want to use the same defaults. Oh, I was using the global, wasn't I? I'm a bad person. Prometheus must new pedantic, or no, new pedantic? Yes. Must register. Prometheus.go info new Go collector. Oops. New Go collector. New build info collector. Get some more metadata. Prometheus.new process collector. So now we can also determine the runtime characteristics of this thing as well, which is good. This error. Failed to create exporter. And we register our exporter as well. HTTP handler at /metrics. I'm not going to make this configurable. I don't know why I made my old ones configurable. It doesn't really make any sense, to be honest. Prom HTTP handler for the registry with the default options. Start listing for HTTP connections. So yeah, starting NixOS channel exporter on. So this is going to need an address configuration as well. What's up? Hey, welcome. Good to see you here. We are building a Prometheus exporter. Fun. I guess I should probably make these more explicit, like address, config, etc. What's Prometheus? I'm not telling you. The default for this is 9402, right? What was it? 9402, yeah. It's not in the default ports list, but that's okay. A story about fire, I think. Yeah, pretty much. Address used to bind the Prometheus HTTP server. Prometheus metrics HTTP server. Yep. And I guess we could do a nice little redirect to metrics on the root Lux handle / Doesn't this do like overly broad like wildcard matching though? I guess it's probably okay, but you spent 3 hours at the skateboard due to our holiday today. Nice. Oh yeah, so at KubeCon, some of the Prometheus, I can't remember exactly who won it, but some company had a Prometheus like skate deck. They had like skate decks for all of the what do you call it? Like all of the CNCF projects, and we actually, a friend of Prometheus won the Prometheus skate deck, so it's actually in the Red Hat. Yeah, Morantis, that's right. Yeah, so it's actually in the Red Hat office now in Berlin, I think, which is pretty cool. Oh yeah, Jimmy won it. That's right. That's so funny. I couldn't remember. I thought it might have been Lily, but that's super funny, Jimmy. You literally weren't even at KubeCon. Yep. Too funny. Redirect handler. Perfect. So redirect everything to /metrics, HTTP, permanent redirect. Yeah, that seems good. Address. Timeouts. Good. Always timeouts. Cannot start NixOS channel exporter. I won it by having the most Twitter engagements. Nice. Very cool. 53. There we go. No, that was not it. What did I do? What am I missing? 53. Unexpected new line. Expecting a comma? Why do you need a comma in here? Am I missing a comma? This is really silly. Oh, I'm looking at 52. Wow. Okay. I was looking at the wrong line. There we go. Process collector ops. Fun. Okay. Prometheus process collector ops. Yep, sure. There we go. So it is running. Let us see what happens. Let's run it down below. Actually, that'll be... I can run it down here because you all don't really need to... Oops. Main.go. And let's curl it. Localhost 9402/metrics. Uh-oh. Hey, nice. We got a bunch of stuff. Grep channel. Beautiful. Yes, indeed. So there we go. So for channel NixOS unstable, the current revision is this. Perfect. So we have the basic start of the exporter, which is pretty cool. So awesome. Isn't Control L clear? Is it really? I did not know that. Thank you for teaching me that. Why do so many people type clear? It hurts my soul. I had no idea. I have a C alias. I just forget, but I did not know about Control L until literally right now. I've been using Linux for 11 years, and I had no idea. Thank you. All right, I need to refill my water. I'll be back in just a sec. All right, we're back, this time with standing desk mode. Well, I guess I won't have to type clear anymore. Oh, so Dominic also learned that. Nice. I do know about Control R. Yes, I did know about that. Control R was something I didn't know about Control R, I think, for my first 5 years of using Linux, but now I use it nonstop. I'm a bad boy. I use Control R for commands I use once a month, then panic when it's no longer my history. Yes, me too. I'm the exact same way. Excuse me. Anyway, yeah, so we have these HTTP requests with stuff we can parse, which is great. So, yeah, this is probably a good place to checkpoint as well. So, address config, Prometheus Alert collector, HTTP handler, and start listening. Yes. Yes, and yes. FH is alias for history fuzzy find. I need to use fuzzy find. I actually don't use that. I have been meaning to for years, literally years. We didn't run a test for this. We didn't run a test. Yeah, it's probably okay. I want to keep these commits somewhat manageable, so we'll write tests next. Go.star. Oh, I don't do commit messages like added stuff. That's against my rules. I have standards. Hey Jimmy, I heard you were gonna give me $5 today so you can get some error emotes, right? Don't you want them? Oh shit. No big deal. So the story behind the emotes is I have a friend who is an artist, and she was going to draw emotes for me, but she's busy, so I drew some myself for the time being, and I think they're pretty funny, so they'll probably stick around somewhat. When you start using Go, did you have to remove a Go alias that did something with Git? No, I did not, thankfully. Internal channels, initial exporter with 1 metric. Yep. I guess we should probably just keep pushing these and run CI. Also, I haven't run static check today. That'd probably be a good idea, right? Go vet and static check. And I thought I had an alias that, whatever. Anyway, I just did the clear thing again. I gotta learn. Static check. Good. Control L. Control L. Just gotta beat it into my skull, right? Let's write tests. Let's definitely write tests. That's a good thing to do. So forgot to charge my headphones and they're dead now. See you later. Wah wah. See ya. See you later. Exporter test.go. Lots of people write Prometheus exporters without tests, and hey, Crazy Default, thank you so much for the subscription. I appreciate that. Enjoy your hand-drawn artisanal MD layer emotes. We have 3. I think the next one is going to be something along the lines of no else. Like, I'm gonna like have an else statement like crossed out because I don't believe in else. But we'll see. On the topic of like silly drawings and things, so something I am considering doing, you'll all laugh at me, but this is my IPv6/48 ULA prefix, and I was playing with different fonts because I'm considering getting this tattooed on myself. So like, imagine you've got your IPv6 prefix tattooed on your arm. Wouldn't that be pretty cool? Hey, Jimmy and Matthias, thank you so much for these subscriptions. I appreciate that. Hype train incoming. Yeah. So me and my IPv6 love, you know. It took so long to do because they blocked PayPal but took Amazon Pay. Really? Interesting. More Gophers. Yes, Gophers. You have Gophers, you have the error emote, and you also have the tux as well. So enjoy. Those are the ones I have right now. We will do more, though. So actually, it's good that people have emotes now because we are going to send a large data bank a raid after this stream, and we are going to raid him pretty hard with our pencil army stuff. Prometheus. Oh, I should do a crappy Prometheus drawing, shouldn't I? That'd be good. That could be the 5th emote, I think. I think we need 7 more subscribers to get another emote slot. So I'm not gonna force anybody to subscribe, but you're welcome to if you want. It's just kind of funny because like I wanted some kind of emotes, you know, and I just figured it would be pretty funny if I drew my own. Like, I think people would appreciate that. And Thanos, I'm slightly biased. Nice. Fantastic sans mono. Interesting. Fantastic sans mono. Yeah, I would use an open source font for sure. Oh, nice. Okay. It looks pretty good. Yeah, somebody linked me to a website where I think it's called like 1001 fonts or something. I'll go ahead and bookmark this. Thank you so much. Somebody linked me to a website that has a whole bunch of fonts, and I was actually able to type in the address. So probably what I'll do is I'll go to like that website or something and then just type in the address and then like figure out what size I want. But yeah, I'm going to have an IPv6 prefix tattoo. I would say that's pretty hashtag on brand for MD layer status. So we need to have 2 HTTP servers running because we need the exporter server as well as the remote server we're fetching from. So test exporter T testing T. We actually don't need to test the exporter. We can do a one-shot collection. So I actually have a package I created called prom test MD layer. There we go. I created this prom test package to make it easier to test Prometheus metrics. So I have this collect thing that, given a testing T and a Prometheus collector, select this exporter, it will produce bytes. So I can use this. So we'll use that. So first we need to... Has ligatures and a customizable K as well. Amazing font. Nice. Good to know. Wait, Jimmy, you actually have an IPv6 tattoo already? No way. I thought it was, yeah. : 1 is very good. No, okay. I thought I was like, you know, super onto something, but no. So I have my, this is my /48 for my internal prefix. Like, this is a prefix I generated using all my networks, and it is mine forever. So I think it'd be kind of cool. Of course, if I had global space, that'd be even cooler. Like if I had just like a /32, but that's probably not going to happen anytime soon. So, test exporter. Man, you've all got me so distracted today. This always happens. I get on here and then Twitch chat's just like going crazy with stuff, and I'm like, oh, well, I hate my LAN too much to do that. Oh, that's sad. I love my LAN. We actually need, so test, this is going to be like the NixOS. So test server, test remote, test channels server. Wait, you want to be productive with us? Yeah, good luck, right? I can't afford 10 GB. Yes, you can. I just spent like $250 to get 10 gig between my desktop and server. Actually, MikroTik or Mikrotic makes a little switch. Let me show you. Yes, SFP Plus. I got used Intel X520 DA1. They're 1-port 10 gig NICs on eBay for like $30 a piece. I bought a couple SFP Plus cables. MikroTik 10 GBE 4-port. And I bought this switch. Is this the one? This switch, yeah. Little tiny thing, 1 gig uplink, 4 10 gig SFP Plus links. If you only need like a desktop and a server, you don't even need the switch, but it was like $130. So why not, right? Why the heck not? Error T fatal off? T? Yeah. Failed to create exporter. None of your devices have 10 GB interfaces. Yeah, I had to buy a couple SFP Plus like NICs off of eBay, but they're like $30 a piece, and I use desktops. So, oh, your NAS has 1 gig that can be bonded. Yeah, you could do like a 2 gig connection if you wanted to. I think it's interesting how they are promoting the so prom test collect. Let me think for just a sec. I think it's interesting how people are promoting the 2.5 gig and stuff. Like that's a really interesting thing. I'd rather just jump to 10, but that's just me. And I was excited because I was upgrading to AC 2600 Wi-Fi. Nice. Yeah, I tend to take my networking stuff pretty seriously. Let's go ahead and dump the output for a while. We need to create the channels server. This needs to return the URL. Yeah. So given some input data, this is going to export that data in the format expected by. Yeah. Yeah. How do I want to do this? Maybe we want to make this more flexible for now. So func is taking the networking stuff seriously gets a tattoo next. Yeah, totally. I like IPv6 enough. I'm like infatuated enough with IPv6 where I want to get a tattoo. Like, what does that say about me, you know? I'm going to get a CoreOS trans stamp. Hey, you do you. HTTP test, new server. What's wrong with my auto-completion? Hello? Let's close all these for now. How is Router OS compared to something like Ubiquiti? So I don't actually use the Router OS. I've got it configured for the Switch OS because it's just a dumb switch. It seems okay. Honestly, if Ubiquiti made something that was like that, around that price point with 4 10 gig ports, I would have bought Ubiquiti instead. I bought MikroTik because it was inexpensive, but when I get a house eventually, like Ubiquiti's got like this ridiculous like 10 gig aggregation switch. Like I'm sure I'm gonna buy one of those. So I've got plans, but this was a easy way for me to get 10 gig between my server that lives right there and my desktop, which lives right here. So makes sense. I wouldn't care about switch config. Yeah. Yeah, it seems like a capable little device. I find the menus to be, frankly, a little confusing. Like, they're not very obvious. It's like, VLAN, checkmark. It's like, what? Like, it doesn't really make any sense, you know? Compilation errors. That's probably why things are complaining. 21. I see. Address, test, channels, server, T... and then an HTTP handler function. Friends don't let friends get PHP tattoos when drunk. Are you trying to tell us something? You trying to tell us you've got a PHP tattoo when you were drunk? I used to really like PHP, actually. I thought that it was I did PHP for a while and I enjoyed it. That being said, I'm at the point now where Go just does everything I want to do better. You know, we can use the default here as well. We don't actually need. I guess we could just make this not configurable even. Maybe we'll want to parameterize this, but for now we'll use the default. TTD, right, there's no data. D is for data. Channels data, right? Yeah, because we need input data to figure out how to configure the exporter. So we do need that. So this is the base case. We're going to have input channel data. We're going to have... What else are we missing here? Cannot use function, HTTP handler, right, HTTP handler func. Handler function. Yes, indeed. Control L, Control L, Control L. I will try to remember, I promise. Missing return. Since we are on Go 1.14, we are going to use tcleanup, which is very nice. Serve close. Is that all we need to do is just close the server? We don't actually have to clean up anything else, do we? Huh. Cool. Very nice. Ooh. It's already getting warm in here. The OBS oven. No fun. Serve URL. Yeah. We could potentially inline this, but there we go. Nothing. So there is no function. Right, yeah, okay. So no function. So there was no metrics because this was never called because there was no data configured. So when there's no data, we would expect no metrics output. When there is data, we'll steal it from the other test. Something like this. Name. No data, and if there is data. So this is going to be, let's see here, multiple channels. I'll remember one of these days. 39. Okay. If there is data, we should request, and what is? Oh, we want -v, don't we? Go test -v. Okay, there we go. So we can actually see that we're getting some information here where NixOS unstable revision, revision, revision. Awesome, awesome. Very cool. So I think probably what we're going to want to check is the metrics match something. So I actually have another function in my prom test package that will do that. So prom test match. Whether each metric matches. We can also lint the metrics, which is good. So prom lint, prom test match, right. Prom test lint t dot fatal f. Failed to lint metrics. And then this match function, sorry, you can make this bigger. The body and then the metrics you expect. So music is doing some weird things over here. There we go. We're going to want to parameterize this too, but we haven't yet. There is not music. I don't do music on stream because I don't want to deal with cutting it out for YouTube and such. I listen to music in my headphones. And also this way, people who want to listen to music can. People who don't want to don't have to, or they can listen to their own music. So I think this is probably the safest option. I mostly just want to make it as accommodating as possible for people with different, wants and needs. So, not prompt test match t body p tt metrics. fatal F, fatal. Failed to match expected metrics. Yep, I'm playing some metal on my side. Yeah, it makes sense. I am listening to, well, so for a while it was the Fire Emblem soundtrack from Three Houses, and now it is Persona 5 again. So, there we go. So we can see Prometheus metric is not found in list, channel revision, etc. Awesome. So we need some git hash. How long are git hashes anyway? Is this 40? Aren't they like SHA-1? So something like, yeah, we'll figure it out. Echo-n. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. Instead of just, no. Echo-n. Git log-1. Echo-n. It's probably a fast way to do this. For count. 40. Yes, they are 40. So we can probably just do like bytes repeat 40 or something. That seems reasonable to me. So we're probably going to want to parameterize this out as well. TT handler. HTTP handler func. Handler. 2 times SHA-1.size. Yeah, because it's encoded as I can't remember how long SHA-1 is, honestly. Yeah, but that makes sense though because it's encoded as hex. SHA-1 is 20 bytes. Yeah. What's your alerting story with this? So I don't actually run the alerts for this. I am building this as something to show the folks who actually run the NixOS infrastructure, and I think that they have alerts. Keys, thank you for the follow. I think they have alerts along the lines of you check the last modified header from S3, and you can figure out like if the channel is stale and such. So, but I actually don't know for sure. I'm just effectively emulating the same metrics that they have. Time for more workflow foo. Okay. Middle click will paste your previous selected text wherever you're focused, and it works in the terminal. No need to right click, copy, paste. Really? Okay. That's good to know. It's a little tricky on the trackball, but good to know. Thanks. Shift insert. I don't even know where insert is on the Kinesis. I have no idea. Below X. Really? Do I have that remapped? No. Huh. Might require a function. Gotcha. 20. SHA-1 size. Yeah. Yeah, this is good enough for now. And W right. B. So what do we see? Let's type bool. Ah, right. So this is slash channels slash I guess we could do like a scanf or something in here. That'd probably be the cheater way, right? If there get upgrades to the SHA-256 non-broken algorithm, this might break. Probably. I think I'm not gonna do any like checks on like the length of this or anything. I'm just going to verify that this is just gonna be something that looks like a commit hash. Like it just needs to be not empty, pretty much. So I guess I could just do 20, you know, instead of like depending on SHA-1 in here. Let's see here. So r.url.path. Strings has prefix / channels. Do some basic sanity checking here for the URL path. Expected URL path syntax. Sent Q. I guess we could scan out the channel name from here using like, yeah, probably channel. I can never remember the syntax for this. I think I want scanf. Do I want scanf or just scanf? Yeah, I want scanf, yeah. So we scan from our URL path with this format. Yeah, right. Does anyone know if there are any good podcasts revolving around CNCF projects, DevOps, or OSS in general? I don't actually know, so I guess I don't know. Maybe somebody here will. URL.path. This syntax, yes, and then channel. N equals nil or n not equals 1. Failed to parse channel. N%d error %v. And we switch on the channel. Panic F, yep. Little helper I find myself writing all the time. Ah. Unexpected EOF. Really? Why would that be an unexpected EOF? Does it expect a new line? No, it doesn't. All right, we got to panic, so we got to shrink the text. Failed to parse channel string. Why would this have unexpected EOF? That makes no sense. Does it expect a new line or something? Is that the problem here? I don't use scanf very often. What am I missing? I mean, I guess I could use like string operations to pull it out or something, but I don't understand why it's giving me unexpected EOF. It's continuing to parse it's parsing the string correctly, so. New lines in the input must match new lines in the format. There are no new lines, so. What am I missing? I think in the interest of making this like not super annoying. Git revision. Control L. I'll remember one of these days. There we go. I think it can't match your input, but why? I mean, that's what our URL path is. Was that string just now, I think. It wasn't. What was the... What is our URL path? /channels/%s/get revision. Oh, maybe because it's a string in the middle, like maybe it doesn't know where the string terminates or something. I'm not gonna bother with this. It's not worth the trouble right now, you know. Is it getting any body here? What am I missing? I guess we can probably remove the... Yeah, see, the revision is empty. That's so weird. Is this one of those silly quoting things? Hang on a sec. It does match. Okay, well. Yeah. We're gonna move on. Oh, so SK and F's space separated. Yeah, okay, so I missed that. Yep, makes sense. Thank you. No worries. That's okay. We can move on. I just don't want to get stuck on something silly like that, you know? NixOS unstable small. Oh, you know what I think I was going to do here, actually? It was just something like this. Simplify. This package is unstable. Dan7S, thank you so much for the follow. Revision equals what in the heck? Quotes. Something fishy's going on here. Oh, it's because I'm encoding raw bytes instead of hex, right? Yeah, I think I have to hex encode these, actually. Hex encodes to string. Yeah, I could have done %x too, but there we go. If error's not equal to nil, yeah. I think I've got like some brain errors going on today. Shoot. Stable small. Nix packages unstable. I'm just going to copy string of twos. I think most programmers on Twitch are just happy to have chat understand what the fuck they're working on. Meanwhile, we got backseat programming going on here. Oh, you're good. I don't actually mind backseat programming. There have been a couple times where it's been like really aggressive, but like not today at all. But like if there's a point where I'm just like, okay, you let me think, you know, I'll say that. But it's actually been totally fine today. Perfect. Okay, we got a passing test. We do need to start inspecting the headers as well, but we'll get to that next. Control L. Control L. I'll memorize that one day, I promise. Problem test. Yep. Sure, the client passes a sanely for, well, actually, I guess instead of doing this check, I could just do like a default. Oh, we're not actually checking the HTTP status at all, are we? We should definitely be doing that. Yeah, we'll do that in a sec here. Matthias, do you test your prom endpoints? Probably not. It seems like a lot of people don't. It's okay, but I do. Sure, the client passes a sanely formatted URL and return. I mean, I don't mean to like drag you under the bus, Matthias, but and return something that looks like a git commit hash for the revision. Okay. I think sometimes, but it's mostly like making sure during the runtime the metric makes sense. Yeah, totally. I admit this is probably overkill, but like I've seen like a lot of Prometheus exporters that have no tests, and I feel like at that point, like the entire thing's job is to export metrics, you know? This helper isn't doing us any good. I totally agree, though, that it should be tested. Really stupid to not have them and then rely on it in production. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, if I want something that's going to be, like, paging me, right? Like, I want to make sure it's got tests on it. So, set up a fake NixOS.org, which returns channel metadata in the same way that the returns channel metadata in the same format as the real thing. Verify them for correctness, yeah. It's pretty good, I think. Internal channels. Is there anything? the HTTP body should just contain a git commit hash. So assume it will not be very large in size. At work, we have some zombie processes, and I think we're going to write an export that looks at PIDs to report stuff like that. Is there something that exists? Yeah, that does sound like a node exporter thing to me, honestly. I don't know the current status of something like that. You should open an issue first, but node exporter seems like the right place for that to belong, in my opinion, as well. Internal channels. Initial test for exporter. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so now we've got kind of the base infrastructure set up. So at this point, it's just adding more metrics and then also parsing more fields. We need to start gathering the... Well, so first we need to check the status. Status code. Status okay. Unexpected HTTP status. Unexpected response, because the HTTP part's already implied. One sec. What was I thinking of? Large data bank streaming. Nice. We will definitely send him a raid later on. It will be fun. We will raid with our Gopher emotes. It will be great. Node exporter has aggregated process stats. Apparently not sure what's in there. Yeah, I would think that monitoring for zombies is probably a good thing for a node exporter, but don't know. Right, so now we need to check the status code. Should never be called. Makes sense to me. Bad HTTP status. HTTP not found. WR. Yes, Node Exporter does have tests. It needs them because it does complicated things. But most of those complicated things can be moved into ProcFS, thankfully. Because it's kind of insane to have all that stuff directly inline. Out of curiosity. Empty, huh? Oh, it's because there's no input data. That's why. Channels data. Control L. I'll remember, I promise. Someday. An error has occurred. Nice. Collection should have failed with some kind of error output from the Prometheus client library. I guess in the other case it wouldn't fail at all, so it would be okay. It's just that nothing happens. Yeah. Technically okay due to no inputs. I like to try and put the bad test cases first, but I'm going to stop hijacking chat and also working on a day off. Yeah, you totally should. I don't mind hijacking chat. It's not a problem at all. But don't work on a day off. Would not recommend that. Collection succeeded. Verify the correctness of the output metrics. Go outside. Yeah, I'm supposed to go drink some beer with some friends this afternoon, so that'll be pretty fun. Drink some beer outside. Nice day here in Michigan. I got sunburnt on Sunday though, so I'm trying not to get sunburnt again. Go outside. I should make that one of my summertime things. Strings contains the string of the body. Error collecting metric. Yeah, that's all I really care about. Something like that. Unexpected response HTTP 404. No, that's not quite right. I guess it's probably okay. No, we want some kind of just like error collecting metric. Because this indicates that we called the new invalid metric thing, which is exactly what we want, so. Nice. Defer funk back inside. I got sunburnt last night too, protesting. Nice. Doing the right thing. Oh, what the hell does the sun think? T.fatal F. Expected. Prometheus client library error, but did not find one. Cool. Good stuff. Funk cat for outside, inside. Yeah, true. Sony needs to fire designers for the PS5. It's so ugly. It's huge too. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the design, honestly. I think I really like the PS4, personally, myself. I know it's kind of got that trapezoid thing going on or whatever, but I actually do like it. This is looking pretty good. You know, I don't know if we've run this in a while against the real data. Actually, I think we did earlier, but we can run it again. Go run dot. Perfect. Internal. I think we're probably to the point where we should start parallelizing this. I think it could be useful. PS5 is not all matte black, yeah. I mean, I'm still gonna buy one, but it is sad. Internal channels, verify HTTP status code. Pretty sure they want to push dbrand. Yeah, that's what Linus said too. I think Linus was like, dbrand's going to make a killing on PS5 skins. You know, I still haven't played... I still haven't played GTA 5, actually. I've been meaning to. I haven't played Red Dead 2 either. I need to play both of those, I think. Or at least I think I'm more interested in Red Dead, honestly. But I have not played either one. GTA 5 would recommend. Nice. Red Dead stopped after 10 minutes. So boring. Really? Huh. Gaming stream. You know, I've thought about it. I don't have a capture card, but I might do something silly like Poly Bridge or Roller Coaster Tycoon at some point. We'll see. I do love Roller Coaster Tycoon. I've been getting the itch because the people made Open RCT2, which is an open source reimplementation of the engine and everything. Is awesome. Oh, you got a capture card. Nice. So which ones? Using Twitch for gaming, the blasphemy, right? Stoppelberg, if you could send me your capture card, I'd be curious because I'm sure you're using it on Linux as well, and I want one that works with Linux. So, oh, excuse me. You're thinking about doing some Super Mario 64? Nice. Yeah, Super Mario 64 is awesome. That's a great game. It's one of my all-time favorites, I think. Oh, okay, I will go ahead and take a look at that. Cool. I'll bookmark this. Yeah, I think we should parallelize this for sure. Curl. 1 second? That's way too slow. It is going to be pretty slow once we have all the channels in there, but one of these days go full N64 HDMI mod plus EverDrive. Yeah, that'd be sweet. Okay, you have no comparison. It's so. After replugging a few times, I always get a picture. Good to know. Yeah, we need to parallelize this, I think. That'd be a good idea. So for each channel, we'll trigger a collection process separately. I've been eyeing Minecraft speedrunning for a while. Nice, maybe I'll give it a shot. Yeah, Minecraft, my friends and I just played Minecraft pretty recently, actually. That was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed that. Text with cancel. With timeout. Background. Keep it fast. Defer, cancel. Error group dot with context. We'll plumb the context into the error group as well. CTX. And actually, I guess we can also plumb it into our HTTP request, couldn't we? Context. New request with context, which is a pretty new thing. Method get address string, no body. Failed to create HTTP request. Client do rec. There we go. Context plumbing done. Do we need to, we're iterating over a map here. Do we need to make a copy? Yeah, I think we do, don't we? Channel meta, colon equals meta. Copies for range copies. Range variables to pass into Go routines. Actually, something like that. If you explicitly pass them instead of closing over them, it might work too. Yeah, you can do that. I find that that's a little uglier because then suddenly you have to include them in the signature here and in the call syntax. And actually, in this case, we can't because we're using the air group stuff instead of the go statement. So I just like doing this. But yes, you are right. Yeah, I use air group for handling stuff like this. Like, I don't want to deal with it, you know. Well, beauty. I think that might be all it takes to parallelize. Air group with context returns 2 values, really. A derived context. Oh, we don't actually care. Oh, actually, we do want it, I think. CTX. Is canceled the first time a function passed to go returns a non-nil error, or the first time wait returns whichever occurs first. Maybe we don't want this because I think we want the... I've actually written a few wrappers on air group in the past because it's a good pattern. Nice. I know like Peter Borgen has stuff like that too. I've seen a couple of those read group. Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay. I will go ahead and star your repository and check that out. Thank you. See, the thing is here is I'm not sure I actually want these to be... I guess I'm not sure if I want these to be canceled. Like, I, in theory, want them all to... So the thing is with an air group is, like, on the first error, it's going to cancel the other ones, right? Does it? The context is canceled on an error. I think this is probably okay, but I think I can't decide here what the error handling semantics should be. Because, like, I guess in theory, if there is an error, you probably want to continue... You probably want to continue gathering the other ones? No, I think if there's an error, you'd want to bail out, probably. Because it would probably indicate there are more errors because they're all going to the same server. Set a sane upper bound on the time that... collection, HTTP metrics collection, and HTTP requests can take. If collecting a metric fails, the whole scrape should fail because you don't want to record any garbage metrics. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Too many arguments on 111. Oh. So before, this took 0.991 seconds for 3 of these. Let's try this again now. 0.772, so not that much faster. Interesting. I think it would be faster. I think it would scale up as we added more channels, though. Someone recently had a failure case returning 0 during a metric at work, and I had to tell them to just let it crash. Yeah, totally. Because if it crashes, then Prometheus can handle that too. Trying to do like recovery in software in some of those situations is not really worth it, you know? Do the tests continue to pass this way? I think they would. I don't think there's anything that doesn't rely on... Yeah. Yep. Tests continue to pass. We don't have anything that cares about the order that things happen, just that they happen at all. So that's good. This is why we go, huh? It's pretty easy to add parallelism to an existing task. Wait, so is this... Here we go. Concurrency is not parallelism. This is parallelism, though, because we're doing the requests in parallel. This is not concurrency. Or this is concurrency, but it's also parallelism, right? I'm not Rob Pike. Don't quote me. If any of the Go routines return an error, that error will cancel this context causing the other Go routines to bail out of their HTTP requests. So we can more quickly report an error to Prometheus. Internal channels, parallelize outgoing HTTP requests. Nice, 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 nice. Okay, now that we got the parallelism implemented, we can go ahead and add more metrics, right? All right, I'm running low on water. I'll be back in just a sec. All right, we're back. Oh man. Whew. I'm looking forward to the room just gets kind of warm during the summer, you know. It's like it'll be nice streaming during the winter though, because OBS will keep me warm. Wonder how hard my computer is working. Not even that hard. OBS is using 2 full cores. It's not even that bad. I've got a Ryzen 9 3900X, so I'm way good. We should look at this revision thing. That's something else we want to look at as well. Oh, we already have that, sorry. I want to look at the timestamp, which is the last modified header. Parse is a timestamp. Okay. So let's start looking at that. Header. Let's just dump the header map. Yeah. Localhost 9402. Metrics. Okay, so the headers we're getting, we want to look at the last modified and convert that into a timestamp, a Unix timestamp. So how do you parse this? I'm guessing there's probably something in NetHTTP for handling this, whatever the format is. Or maybe time, right? So the format is Sunday, 7th June, GMT. Okay. RFC 1123, HTTP time format. Oh, okay, nice. I didn't actually know there was a constant for that. HTTP. Time format. Nice. Perfect. Thank you. Time parse. HTTP time format H. Formed last modified header. Okay, so now we have the last modified time as a time. So we can export a new metric. Let's check OBS out. Doing good. Doing good. HTTP parse time? Really? Func parse time. No way. Cool. Okay. That'll work. It seems like every day I learn something new. You know? Something new about, like, one of these libraries. Yeah, I was curious. Okay. Microphone. Oh, my frame rendering time jumped up. Oh, that was when I started streaming. Okay, we're good. How are my temps looking? Last 3 hours. 66 degrees Celsius, not bad. Yes, there is an OBS exporter, OBS Studio Exporter. It is a plugin that OBS loads. Excuse me. This guy right here. Yep, I'm running that. Of course there is, yep. I was going to write one if one didn't already exist, so... Check for a last modified header and parse it if present. Channel update time is a Unix time, I believe, right? I think the help string here is wrong. Total number of failures. Yeah, this help string is a copy paste. I want to run Prometheus plus Grafana on my NAS, but I just don't think it's got the CPU for it. Maybe. I mean, I think Prometheus can be pretty lightweight as long as you're not scraping like tons and tons of targets. Like, I'm running my NAS is a Ryzen 7 2700, so it's definitely way overkill in general, but it's kind of nice because I can run like VMs and stuff too. So like I'm developing like certain things on OpenBSD and FreeBSD, so I can just run them over there, which is really nice. Although my desktop would be capable too. It's nice having those on because my server's on all the time. You run Prometheus on your Synology NAS with just Node Export, no problems ever. Nice. Very cool. Intel Celeron J. Oh, Synology? Yeah, probably. That'd be rough. Yeah, let me see. How many targets do I have? A lot. Or I've got a good amount, so... One sec. Yeah, 16 gigs of RAM, though. Yeah, you'd probably be fine then. Yeah, I'm scraping a fair few targets. Seems like you moved along with the code, caught a bit of the start of the stream, but then had to do dinner and went for a walk. Nice. That sounds great, actually. Yeah, we're actually pretty far along. So we're at the point now where we're exporting one metric, and we also just parallelize the requests. Now we are going to parse this last modified header and export another metric. So the goal is to mimic what the Python client is doing again, or the Python version is doing. Update time. And we're keeping some of the metrics the same, even though there's some non-idiomatic things. To do, consider adding unit seconds. I just don't want to break the existing stuff. I'm trying to make it so this is like a drop-in replacement. Synthetic information metric. No, this is not. This is the current Unix timestamp of when a Unix timestamp of when a channel was last updated. This is a gauge as well, because it's a Unix time, it's not a counter. I kind of like to do all the stuff that can fail first before I export any metrics, because like you don't want to export a metric and then fail something. So I think it's probably best to do all of these things that can possibly fail and then go down here, and if modified is not 0, modified Unix float 64. Channel. Yeah, we're making good progress for sure. I don't know if we're going to finish this today, but we're going to get far enough along where I can at least show the NixOS folks what I come up with. We got a Prometheus error, unregistered, right? This is kind of one of my nitpicks with the Prometheus client. I don't understand what the difference is between describe and collect. Like, I feel like if you collect on a metric, it should just be able to like infer that it's registered or something. I don't understand the need for this. I don't know. Maybe they're using like different phases and like this can be done a lot earlier or something. I frankly have no idea. It's just a nuisance. There we go. Okay, it works. Switch the... I should learn the tmux shortcut for flipping the panes. I don't actually know it. Curl. There we go. The Unix timestamp of when a channel was last updated. There we go. Perfect. Also, it seems like it's gotten a lot faster now. 0.1 seconds, 0.99. Wow. Must be some pretty aggressive caching. You guess, only guessing that describe happens only once, whereas collect happens in every request. But see, like, when I don't think there's like I don't think Prometheus has like two different collect steps, right? Like, it just goes to... Oh, you mean, sorry, you're not talking about Prometheus, you're talking about the client library. Yeah, so describe probably does happen once to register things and like set up some state or something. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. I thought for a second you were referring to like a second like HTTP endpoint or like a different request parameter, and I'm like, I don't think that's true, but I see what you mean. Yeah, excellent. So I don't think this will reflect the state of the real world, but we can export a timestamp for like just one of these, just to see what would happen with the code in different paths. Although in reality, every channel will have a last modified header. We only set one in this case to handle a possible case where the header is missing. To ensure we handle the possible case where the header is missing, yes. I'm guessing there's probably a function for formatting it in HTTP time as well. So parse time, is there something like format time? HTTP format, really? Func format time. There is not. I was wishing, but there is HTTP time format we can use. Yeah, we both guessed, yep. Time format, no. Time Unix, we'll do something silly, 10 format, HTTP time format. Yep. And then now if we run the tests, these standard library maintainers thinking we only need read headers SMH. Oh, if I remember, describe is used at the startup of the collector to register the metric. Since a Prometheus collector looks to ensure some consistency over scrapes, the collector needs to know what to expect once it calls collect. Yep, that makes sense. That makes sense, actually. In the wrapper I created, if you instantiate a metric, my metrics light package, at least that's my understanding of it, that would make sense to me. In the wrapper I created, if you instantiate a metric, it will register it automatically, which is kind of nice. But that would make sense. Metric is not found in the list. Channel update time negative. That's strange. Is that a time zone thing? The channel is updated at negative 17,000 Unix. I'm not sure I understand the meaning of that. I would expect that to come back to Unix time 10, right? Is this like some time zone funkiness? So time Unix UTC. There we go. Yeah. Time zones. Never. Yeah, time zones are awful. I guess just to be clear, this isn't an info metric. I should do something like 10. There was a blog about this recently. Nice. Okay. Turn all channels. Export. Last modified header as metric. Push. Okay, we're getting there. Channel request time. Channel current. Request failures. Channel status request which have failed. Yeah, we probably should export that actually, shouldn't we? Although, if there's any kind of exception doing the request. Oh, interesting. Okay. Time local. Cool. So this Chris Seibenman, his blog is like prolific. Like I seem like I find his blog like everywhere, you know? Like it's all over the internet. It comes down to the go time object has location to it. Yeah, that makes sense. We want UTC just to keep things easy. Update time. We just did that. I've never seen this blog before. Yeah, I've seen it a whole bunch of times. He's got all kinds of stuff like NFS and like really all kinds of like Linux, Unixy topics. Channel current. Let's do that one. If the channel is expected to be current. Oh, it comes from the about. Oh, that's easy. We should do that. What was the metric called? Channel current? Channel current. And this is another info metric that expects if a channel is expected to be current. So whether or not, yeah, okay. Well, I opened up the index of his blog, and his last post starts with, I have two Dell U24M 2412M monitors. I'm reading through my two U2412M. I think I might have had those two, actually, before I switched to my U2718Qs. I just upgraded my monitors in December, I think. So, yeah, I've got 4Ks now. 412M. Yes, I also had three U2412Ms. That was a good monitor. I actually sold them to a friend. He's using them now. But yeah, I've got the U2718Q. I've got three of those. So vertical over here, horizontal, horizontal. Whether or not channels expect to be current. Easy enough. I've been eyeing the Eve Spectrum monitors. I'm not familiar. Is it like a gaming brand, perhaps? I tend to go with the Dell Ultra Sharp stuff because I just want like a good like workstation display. Video is lagging a bit in Berlin now. Huh. Sometimes if you just refresh, Twitch will catch back up, but Quick little helper here to turn bools into floats. Working fine here in Zurich. Nice. It's a community-driven manufacturer. They basically pull the community to make all product decisions. They use the same panels as the Dells, the LG ones. Nice, okay. Yeah, Matthias, I usually just reload if Twitch is being weird, but cool. I will check these out as well then. I'll bookmark this. I've got so many things to look at after stream today. Let's see here. My apologies, gotta check something real quick. Okay. All right, back at it. So now we got a new metric. We could be able to test that as well. Actually, just pulls from the config file, so that should be an easy one. But go run. I'll expect a new line. 191. I missed a comma. I'm sure I did. Yeah. Oh, it panicked. Inconsistent label cardinality. How? 1, 1, 2. Oh, I didn't register it either. That might have been part of it. Same problem. Huh. I'll stream to get some side projects done. Ends up with way more side projects. Yeah, that's true. That's really true. 144 hertz 4K IPS panels, 1 millisecond response time. Literally, GPUs can't drive that. DP 1.x standard can't either. Interesting. I mean, these are 60 hertz. I'm sure 144 hertz is beautiful, but I just see no need for programming, right? I think we might add 1 or 2 more metrics and then probably wrap the stream. I do want to send large databank a raid, and also I've got other stuff I got to do today. So, yeah, we'll probably wrap up within the next 20 minutes or so, probably be the plan. But just letting you all know. Exporter 189. Channel Yep, that's why. I'll be back in just a second. I need to go blow my nose. All right, we're back. No, I'm not kicking out yet. Yeah, it's awful. Getting older all of a sudden, I'm starting to get like some gray hairs and stuff. And one of the worst parts, like I'm 28, about to turn 29, and I'm getting like nose hair like crazy, and it's just so obnoxious, you know? Ugh. The worst. Definitely the worst. That should be fixed. Yes, it is. Excellent. Whether or not it's expected to be current, 110. Perfect. That works beautifully. And we should be able to add metrics for that if we go to the tests. So, yeah, one of the hard things about streaming is you can't really view panics in your little tiny, your gigantic font. Yep. Damn, I think I realized that I can either drink coffee in the morning or sleep till noon. Yeah, coffee is a necessity for sure. I'm kind of craving an afternoon cup, honestly. I don't need it though. I can feel like I'm plenty fine without it, but awesome. Oh, we want to get rid of that comment too. It's like 10 lines of changes to add a metric there. Easy enough. Frederick supports you drinking coffee. Is Frederick in the stream right now? He should be. Get him on Twitch. Make him subscribe to me. I need 7 more subscribers so we can get more emotes. Frederick Rumi introduced me to coffee tonic. I have no idea what that is. I've never heard that before. Now I'm curious too. I drink cold brew. Cold brew is where it's at for me. Export espresso tonic. Cold brew or espresso and tonic water. Tonic water is gross though. I don't see the point. Nitro, yes. Nitro cold brew is awesome, but why would you add like tonic water to it? That seems like such a bad idea. It's so, I don't know if I believe you. I have to come hang out at one of the Red Hat offices and find this out myself, you know. Export channel current status. So we have request time. This is a histogram. Yeah, time spent requesting channel data. Yeah, I want to do a histogram for sure. So the number of failures and the request time are both things we want to export as well. Go to KubeCon EU. That's when I hang out with all these fools. Yeah, totally. I literally go to EU more than the US. Yeah, KubeCon EU is fun. I was just in San Diego for that last one. I keep going the wrong way. I'd love to go to KubeCon EU again. Like the one in Copenhagen I went to was awesome. That was a really good time. I was actually going to be in Berlin. Yes, I think we did meet in Copenhagen. I think you're right. I was going to be in Berlin for GopherCon Europe actually, but that is now online. So I'm giving a talk at GopherCon Europe on Tuesday, I believe. Yeah, so sad day. Would have loved to be there, but what are you going to do? So we need to add a histogram. I'm no good at histograms, but we might not get to that today. I don't know if I want to dive down that rabbit hole right now, but we can at least track the number of request failures. That'd probably be good. Channel status requests which have failed. So what are the criteria here for failing? Count exceptions. Interesting. So I guess let's copy that one. Histogram of outgoing GPU request times. Both of you just move here. Yeah. I'd love to come visit for sure. I've never been. This is not partitioned by the channel, though. That's interesting. I guess it's probably fine for it to be total, but I think I would partition this by channel. Depends how the election goes this year. Yeah. Quarantine had me kind of switch to tea, so hard to give up coffee. Yeah, totally. I do want beer walking around the streets. That is the dream, although I understand some of the lawmakers here are finally starting to consider that sort of thing here, which would be great. Channel request failures total. Oh, Jamie, I'm not sure if you were here earlier, but somebody asked me why I didn't move to, like, you know, why I didn't move somewhere else other than Michigan. And I was like, well, I don't really want to go to New York or San Francisco. And they're cool places, just not for me. I enjoy going to visit, though. Comstock, baby. I don't live in Comstock. I live in Kalamazoo. But Bell's Brewery is in Comstock, but the pub is downtown, the Eccentric Cafe. Comstock is not the same thing as Kalamazoo. That is not true. Definitely not. I've got a friend who grew up in Comstock, and he's told me what Comstock is actually like. It's like 5 minutes away. It's like 15 minutes away. What are you talking about? I'm surprised you know that, actually. It's like you've been doing some research, spying on me or some shit. I guess we'll probably use atomics for this. Oh, you've been there before and you live there. Interesting. Okay. I've been in Kalamazoo since 2009. Oh, you toured Bells on the way to Electric Forest like 2 years ago? Nice. Nice. Very cool. I did not know you went to Electric Forest. Yeah, I've got lots of friends who've been to that. I have never went, but... Request failures. Failures is going to be... Oh, shoot. Let me know if you want to go. It's fucking dope. Yeah. EDM's not really my thing, but I have been kind of interested. I'm kind of interested in like summer camp, actually. I had friends who went to that. They said it was a lot of fun, but... do I want atomics here, or do I want like a... I think I want atomics, honestly, because this is parallel. Failures... You went 32. Summer camp is great. Yeah, I've got a couple friends who went and they had a really good time, so I'd really like to go as well. Maybe I should make this a 64, I guess. It's probably going to be way more than you possibly need, but 32 should be okay. There's no way you're going to have over 4 billion failures on this thing. No way. Right? I mean, we'll see. Add you went 32 to E failures 1. Oop, what did I just do? I normally go to festivals with lineups like summer camp. Yeah, that's like more of my style. But Forest is basically the only EDM thing I go to. Yeah, I've heard great things, but it used to be a hippie festival called Rothbury before Detroit EDM scene. Right. I guess it's in Rothbury, Michigan. Add UNT32, E failures. Yeah. And then we export the value of the atomic down here. Whacking? What does that mean? Channel request failures. It's a counter. Thus concludes all my knowledge of Michigan. Also Zingerman's. Yeah, Zingerman's is pretty good, for sure. ETS counter. Float 64. Atomic. Load. And 32. Yeah. Seems good. Since we used error group, I guess one error will lead to error in other channels too. I think it would result in like context canceled. Yeah, you might be right about that. But, you might be right about that. Maybe we want to check for the context not being canceled or something. I guess I'm not sure. I don't know for sure yet. We'll leave this as is for now, but I think we're going to need to play with it. After you're done with the stream, what do you... Oh, great. A YouTube video. World's biggest festival for metal. Oh, wow. That sounds... I got a friend who would love that, but... I used to like metal a lot more. I mean, metal's okay. It's not bad. It's not my thing anymore, really, but it's I can appreciate it. Channel request failures. I'm sure this is like some heresy to you. Inconsistent Cardinelli, again, right. Your Gojira friend, right? Yes, exactly. My Gojira friend, and also I've got one of my whiskey buddies is really big into metal too. But yeah, my buddy's Twitter name is literally Gojira Guitar. It's hilarious. Failed let metrics, text format parsing. Oh. How did I break this? Let's check the tests. 153. Yeah, this is gonna be the last thing we do on stream. We'll do this. We're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna send a raid over to large data bank, and we are going to hit him really hard with the MD layer emotes. So take your pick of the gopher, the tux, or the errors. I'm going to spam the error probably, but we're going to raid like crazy. We need to make programming raids a thing. Like, this needs to happen. Water parks connected festivals are dope, but just get disgusting the longer it goes on. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that at all. I hear festivals are pretty, can be pretty unsanitary, depending. Why is this failing to... There's something wrong here. We need to look at the metrics output, I think. All right, everyone, I'm going to go done with my own commit. Nice, very cool. Well, thanks for hanging out, man. It's been a lot of fun. I appreciate you stopping by. It's good. Cool to see some folks I have met in real life, but it's also fun to see folks online, So I appreciate everybody who comes by and hangs out. Request failures total was collected before with the same name and label values. How does that work? We learned how to use computers. Am I doing something wrong here? Hang on. No, I'm exporting it just once. I don't understand how it's being exported twice. Oh, I see. It's because it's being exported within this function instead of the top level. So whenever all the collection's complete, we want to export. Something like this, maybe? Request failures total 0. Wouldn't I expect a failure here because of the 404? Or that's in a different test. Why does my Twitch icon say founder is different from Matthias's? I have no idea. I actually thought it was done giving out the founders badges, but apparently it still is. So I have no idea. I think it's a thing where you can actually you can enable or disable if you want a founders badge on a stream. But I don't know for sure. No inputs means no failures, so. Programmers need to stick together on Twitch so we can all quit our jobs. Yeah, that'd be kind of nice, wouldn't it? I think there might be some subtle stuff going on here where we want to try and test an error case with this, but I think we can leave this as a to-do for now or something. So. Test case for multiple scrapes where the first causes an error. Probably something like that I think would be reasonable. Okay, test pass. I think we're going to checkpoint it here, and we are going to wrap the stream, and we are going to raid. Raid. I'm so excited. I think this is pretty good for showing the NixOS folks kind of what I have in mind. Internal channels, add request failures total counter. All right, let's check the CI status. It's been quite a while since we've checked this at all. Here is the repository, by the way, if you're curious. I think this is probably in good shape. Yeah. Good stuff. How are the tests doing? Let's see here. Internal channels. Tests are running. Print static check version. Nice. All right, I feel pretty good about this. I think we're probably in good shape to commit this, or we've already committed it. So I think we are in good shape to wrap the stream for today. I will most likely be back tomorrow. You can check to-do tree extension. To-do tree extension. Oh, is that for VS Code? Interesting. Okay, I'll look into that. Yeah, I think we're all set. So yeah, thank you all so much for hanging out. It's been a lot of fun. We will go ahead and send a raid over to large databank. Let's see here. So yeah, thank you all so much for hanging out. It's been a lot of fun. We're going to send a raid over to large databank, and we are going to spam our emotes like crazy when we get in there. And hopefully this bot won't time us out. So that being said, yeah, I will see you all later. Take care.